Yo, what's up, guys? Teacher Polo here, and today we're reacting to Norway Knows the secret sauce. Let's see who's gonna win, Norway or England. The match is today, and let me know your thoughts, guys. England versus Norway will break the World Cup, and here's why. This is from a channel called Match Day Moments. Let's check out this documentary.
England are walking into a firestorm that has already burned down the Ivory Coast and blown five-time champions Brazil off the pitch.
I think you mean a snowstorm or an ice storm, because the Vikings, man.
Firestorm powered by the most unstoppable striker on the planet, and a firestorm carrying a whole nation into completely uncharted territory. That's
man.
Norway, and England have to find a way past them on Saturday. I fancy England, of course I do, but I'd be lying if I told you this was comfortable. This is
not
the banana
comfortable.
skin of the entire quarter-final round. Because here's the thing nobody in the England camp wants to say out loud. Norway don't just play you, they hurt you. They press you, they run at you, they force you to defend for your life. And then they feed one man in behind, and he punishes you. Erling Haaland. 5 matches, 12 goals scored, 7 of them his.
It's crazy.
And a striker who has found the net in every single game he has played at this tournament. That is not a fluke. That is a monster in full flow. That's frightening. That is a genuinely frightening center forward to take into a knockout game, even for a side as good as England. And
it's a deadly cyborg, man. You better be careful with Holland, man. Can't even speak. You better be careful with Holland.
Means this isn't just another quarterfinal. This is a 60-year wait for a nation that has only tasted this air a handful of times. Against a Norway side stepping into a major tournament last 4 for the very first time. One of these European heavyweights goes home in Miami, guaranteed. By the time the whistle blows, a real story is over. And think about what's actually on the line here. England reached the semi-finals in Russia in 2018 and lost 2 European finals on penalties. And the ache of Qatar, beaten by France at exactly this stage in 2022, still sits with this group. A place in the last 4 would put Thomas Tuchel's side within touching distance of ending the 60-year drought that has defined English football since 1966.
Listen, this is the battle of a 60-year drought of not winning versus a 20-year drought of not even attending the World Cup. And these are kids of famous footballers. There are 3 children of famous footballers that played 28 years ago. So they need to prove to their fathers, wait, we're gonna avenge you. I don't think that's the motivation, because Norway has a very strong mentality here. They're in it for the fun and games and see where we go with it. But still, it's insane. 60-year drought versus 28-year drought.
Norway,
who wants it more?
Are chasing something they have literally never done. Their previous best was the round of 16 back in 1998. They've already broken through the ceiling by reaching the quarters. Now they want to smash it completely. This is not 2 teams happy just to be here. Let's start with how both of these teams even got here. Because
I mean, Haaland is just happy to be there.
The contrast tells you everything. England topped Group L, but it wasn't always pretty. They opened with a wild 4-2 win over familiar foes Croatia, Harry Kane with a brace, Jude Bellingham and Marcus Rashford also on the score sheet. Then, for the 4th tournament running, they drew their second game 0-0. This time, a flat afternoon against Ghana that had Tuchel demanding a reaction. They got one, a controlled 2-0 win over Panama to finish top of the group. But then the knockouts turned up the heat. In the round of 32 against DR Congo in Atlanta, England went a goal down and looked in real trouble, until Harry Kane produced 2 late goals to drag them through 2-1. Not vintage, but a win is a win. Then came Mexico, and an instant classic at the Mexico City Stadium. Jude Bellingham scored twice in the space of 2 minutes. Kane added a penalty, and England...
Let me tell you, they scored 2 times in 1 minute against a team that had not conceded any goal up until that point.
Jude Bellingham scored twice in the space of 2 minutes. Kane added a penalty, and England held on for a 3-2 victory, despite Jarell Quansah being sent off and playing most of the second half with 10 men.
10 men.
Hard work, chaos, but through. Because that's the reassuring part about this England side. Even when they're second best for spells, even a man down, they find a way. Harry Kane has been ruthless, leading England's charge with 6 goals and already overtaking Gary Lineker as the nation's all-time World Cup scorer.
He's done well. He's done
him,
well.
Jude Bellingham has been magnificent. 4 goals from midfield.
He's done well too.
Masterclass against Mexico that reminded everyone exactly who he is. When those two click, England don't need to be perfect. They just need moments, and they keep finding them. Now,
Bellingham is not only a great striker, but he has been performing outstanding. You know, in the defense, he has been outstanding. Just awesome.
Norway. Norway took the road no one saw coming, and it has been pure theater. They were drawn in a brutal Group 1 alongside France, and they finished second behind Les Bleus, beaten 4-1 in a dead rubber where Solbakken rested Haaland and half his side. But before that, they'd hammered Iraq 4-1 with Haaland scoring twice, and edged Senegal 3-2 in a thriller, Haaland twice again, second in the group, but through and dangerous. Then the knockouts arrived, and Holland took over. Against Côte d'Ivoire in the round of 32, it was
just
tight and tense until the big man popped up with a late winner to settle it 2-1. And then came the night that shook the tournament. Norway versus Brazil in New York. Orjan Nyland saved a first-half penalty from Bruno Guimaraes.
Half penalty.
And then Erling Haaland
Oh no, first half penalty. Yeah, it was a half penalty though.
Struck twice in the closing stages on 79 and 90 minutes to stun the 5-time world champions.
Amazing.
Neymar pulled one back from the spot in stoppage time, but it was too late. Norway won it 2-1 and marched into their first ever quarterfinal. That is a team riding a genuine wave. Now here's where it gets tactical, because this is where the game will be won and lost. Norway, under Ståle Solbakken, play a direct, high-pressing 4-3-3, and the whole system has one clear purpose. Get the ball forward, fast and vertical, and feed Erling Haaland in behind.
Feed
they
the
press
troll.
Aggressively, they win it back quickly, and they hit you before you're set. It is not...
You know, my wife is convinced that Erling Haaland is actually a troll, where he, you know, came from the mountains and then he just started doing what he's doing. What do you guys think? Is that plausible?
Press aggressively, they win it back quickly, and they hit you before you're set. It is not complicated, it is devastatingly effective when it clicks, and it has just knocked out Brazil. And that is the fascinating duel of this whole match. Because who has to stop Haaland? John Stones and Mark Guehi, 2 men who know him inside out from the Premier League. One, his Manchester City teammate, both about to spend 90 minutes trying to smother the most lethal finisher in world football.
That's the advantage that England has over Haaland. They have played against him many a times because this is a you know, a Man City player. So people know his style of playing. People have the experience. So that's where England has an advantage, because they know who Haaland is and they know how they have been playing.
Whoever wins that battle in behind England's defensive line probably wins the game. Club familiarity cuts both ways here. And now they're on opposite sides of a World Cup quarterfinal. You couldn't write it. And around Holland, Norway have real quality. Captain Martin Odegaard is the creative hub, the man who pulls the strings, drifting into pockets and threading the passes that unlock a back four. Behind him, the powerful Sander Berg anchors midfield, using his size and underrated technique to break up play, with Patrick Berg tirelessly covering ground. Out wide, Antonio Nusa and the mercurial Oscar Bob carry genuine threat with their ball control and directness, while Alexander Surloth offers another physical option. And an Orjan Nyland behind all of it, a goalkeeper who has already saved a penalty against Brazil on the biggest stage. This is not a one-man team. It is a team built around Haaland, but with runners and creators all over the pitch. England will counter with their own
It's like the Avengers, playing Avengers, using the Hulk as a secret weapon.
with runners and creators all over the pitch. England will counter with their own embarrassment of riches. Tuchel favors a 4-2-3-1, with two holding midfielders shielding the back four. Declan Rice, the metronome, alongside the tireless Elliot Anderson, and Jude Bellingham roaming as the number 10 behind Kane. The pace of the wide men, the trickery of Bukayo Saka, and a captain in Kane, who drops deep to link play and then punishes you in the box. The question mark is whether they can handle Norway's press, because one loose touch in the build-up and the whole thing turns into a foot race towards Holland.
If you leave Holland open, it's deadly. He needs one touch and one touch only.
That's the puzzle for England. They've shown they can grind out ugly knockout wins. Norway will make this one ugly. Norway's game plan almost has to be what it's always been. Press high, win it back, and get it to Holland as quickly as possible, with Odegaard feeding the runners and Nusa and Bob gambling in wide areas.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. Listen, Norway has good players as well. They have Nusa, they have Odegaard, they have Sørloth. They have more players than Holland, but the problem is that Holland has this gravity around him. So if Holland starts running, you could see 2 or 3 defenders running after him, and that leaves Sørloth and Odegaard open for business. And the gravity that Holland has when he moves and people start freaking out running after him, he can really break the formation of any team by himself. And it's just bluffing so that the other guys can just step in and do their job as well, because they're also very good.
The runners and Nusa and Bob gambling in wide areas. Sørloth arriving late. Berg breaking forward. If there's a route to the win, that's it. But England have that same weapon in their own way. Kane in transition, Bellingham arriving in the box.
True.
Saka one-on-one. If Norway commit bodies forward and lose the ball, the space they leave is exactly where England's runners want to go. And that's the psychological weight of this whole tie. England don't need to force it. They can be patient. They can trust their superior depth. And they can wait, because they know the quality in that squad will eventually create something. Norway are the ones who, at some point, have to keep taking risks, because their whole identity is built on aggression and belief. And the moment that press gets stretched, that's the moment Kane or Bellingham punishes them. But leave Holland one chance, just one, and the whole calculation changes. Which is why the first goal in this one is everything. Norway scored first, the whole picture changes. England have to chase, space is open, and suddenly Holland in behind looks genuinely terrifying. But England score first, and it becomes very hard for Norway. This is still a side appearing in their first ever quarterfinal, carrying pressure they've never carried before, and falling behind against an England team that knows how to manage a knockout game would be a nightmare start.
And as much as they have the mentality of we're here to have fun, and they're having, trips or day outs, they're producing content, they're buying hats, even though they are just casually in the World Cup and not overthinking, even though they're still human and pressure can still creep up on you, because this is a historic moment where millions of people are on the streets right now, and Norway only has 5 million as a population, but they are all on the streets. You're making history for Norway. It's a lot. The royal family is doing the row. You have a full stadium shouting out for you guys. So yeah, there is a lot of pressure that even if you are casual, it could be a problem mentally, because we're all humans, right?
Get your nose.
I mean, Holland is a cyborg, so yeah.
In front, and you make Norway force it. Now, Norway fans will remind you of the belief. This is the team that just knocked out Brazil, that has both scored and conceded in all 5 games.
Stop
reminding. A team
reminding.
that refuses to sit back and refuses to be intimidated by anybody. They do not fear England, and Haaland's record is exactly the kind of weapon that renders form and reputation meaningless. He has scored in all 4 of his appearances at this tournament, rested only for the dead rubber against France, and against Jordan Pickford in the Premier League. He has a habit of finding the net. If England switch off for a single second, he makes them pay. And there's a real headache for Tuchel at the back, because Gerald Quansah is suspended for this one, serving a one-match ban after that red card against Mexico.
Exactly,
The expectation is that Ezri Konsa shifts across to cover, with Reece James also in contention, and reshuffling your defense against the form striker of the tournament is exactly the kind of complication you don't want. On top of that, Jordan Henderson is out of the tournament altogether after breaking his wrist in the celebrations that followed the Mexico win. A freak reminder of how fine...
He is lucky it was only his wrist, because his arm twisted, man. That could have been an open fracture. Dang.
The margins can be. One thing hanging over the whole tie is the balance of that England midfield against Norway's runners. Elliot Anderson has been superb defensively, leading England for interceptions, tackles, and duels won.
It's a nice
and he'll
interception.
need every bit of that energy to help Rice screen the space Haaland loves. Shut down the supply from Odegaard, keep Nusa and Bob quiet, and maybe you starve Haaland. But that is a maybe, because this is a Norway side full of belief, and in
And you might think Haaland only works with assists. Listen, he chases the ball. When we saw him, who was it? We saw the clip over here that he chased the goalkeeper, and he managed to get the ball and score. So you don't play with Haaland. He chases the ball as well. It's not only the assists. Be careful.
But that is a maybe, because this is a Norway side full of belief, and in Nyland, they have a goalkeeper who has already produced a defining save at this tournament.
A-class.
And you look at the goal-scoring picture, and for Norway, it flows almost entirely through one man. Haaland, 7 goals, the beating heart of everything they do. That clarity is a strength, but it is also a worry, because if England can smother him, the supply of goals could dry up fast. Contrast that with England, where it's spread between Kane's 6 and Bellingham's 4, with Saka, Rashford, and others all capable of chipping in. That depth, that spread of threat, might be the difference in a match of small margins. Control versus chaos. The deepest, most balanced squad left in the tournament against the most explosive individual talent and the fearless team that just dumped out Brazil. England's collective quality and big game experience against Norway's belief, their press, and the sheer unstoppable menace of Erling Haaland. And it all unfolds in the heat and noise of Miami, in a game that could easily swing on a single moment of brilliance
or
a single defensive lapse.
It's gonna be crazy.
England are the favorites. The bookmakers have them at around 10 to 11, a shade of odds on to win in 90 minutes. The data has them favorites. The eye test has them favorites. Semi-finalists in 2018, Kane in ruthless form, Bellingham peaking at the right time, 4 wins from 5, and a squad packed with match winners. Everything points to England, and yet, this is a knockout. It's an all-European quarterfinal, and it's Norway, a team that has spent this tournament proving that form and reputation mean nothing once Haaland gets going. By the time the final whistle sounds at Miami's Hard Rock Stadium, one of these 2 European sides will already be packing to go home.
Who's it gonna be?
Either England march on towards a semi-final and a shot at ending 60 years of hurt, or Norway complete the fairy tale and write the most improbable chapter in their entire footballing history. If you want more breakdowns like this, the tactics, the data, the stories inside the match, subscribe and drop your prediction below. Who goes through, England or Norway? England are watching.
It's going to be absolutely insane. I can't wait. By the time you're watching this, maybe you watched it before or after, but it's just crazy. Just really crazy. I don't know who's going to win. I honestly do not know. But whoever it is, I hope it's an entertaining game. I hope it's a game that they will fight for their lives here, because that's what football is all about. Anyways, guys, Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this reaction. Don't forget to like, subscribe. If you want to request a video to show me something, go over to Buy Me Coffee. Link is in the pinned comments, and I'll see you soon, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.